Hi, and welcome to Across the Desk. This week, we highlight a little known group named Elevated Access. And what they do is they help women with healthcare needs, especially reproductive health care, in the wake of the Dobbs decision from the Supreme Court. We're going to discuss that organization and what they do here this week on Across the Desk. Real quick, before we get started, if you like the content of this channel, the best way you can support it is to go down here to the little blue tile and click subscribe. Subscribing is really the best way you can support the work I do. Also, go to my website at kitfairchild.com where you will find information to other merchandise like my book, 10 Lessons of Conservative Cowardice, as well as other videos out on YouTube. Elevated Access. It's a non-profit organization. They've been fairly quiet about who their members are because they're not sure if they're going to get sued or if some really crazy attorney general might come after them, because what they do is they help women get private flights out of states that are very restrictive with their abortion laws. So what they do is they gather volunteer pilots and they get them together and they take these women with their healthcare needs to other states where abortion and certain healthcare needs of women are legal, including contraception and other things as well. So that's what these pilots do, no questions asked, because they can always charter somebody anywhere, and that's pretty much it. This group, what they do is they look for pilots to volunteer their time, volunteer their planes, sometimes volunteer their fuel to take women from very draconian states that have implemented very extreme laws when it comes to abortion and women's health care. And they help them get out of that state into another state that may have laws or no laws pertaining to abortion care, reproductive health of women, and other issues too. So that's what this organization does. They are basically a piloting organization, a nautical travel organization who puts together pilots. They also take donations to buy fuel and everything else, transportation, anything else they can do. This is something else you can do to get a hold of this organization if you want to volunteer time, if you want to volunteer especially money or goods that would help pilots, that would help airplanes stay in the air, that would help keep women private in their endeavors to leave the state and do what they want to do. So that's what this organization does. They get pilots, they help women who need certain health care that's not allowed in their state to go out of state with these pilots. And this organization, Elevated Access, could really use our help. They could use the help of pilots. They can use the help of any pilot that would be willing to help this organization out from flying or anything. They don't even have to donate a plane or anything. Just donating their pilot's license to be able to fly a chartered flight out would be enough for some of these people. So getting on the list is important. Going to airports, they want to get people to put up flyers at airports or anything else to where they can get a hold of them with an email address, and volunteer time, volunteer their piloting skills or anything else they can to this organization to help women out in states that are really depressed when it comes to women's health care and reproductive rights. So that's what this is about. This group, Elevated Access. Now, I reached out to them by email, and they sent me an email back, sent me a couple of links that I could read, like their website and the story that was on News 9. But they really want to stay kind of anonymous at the time because, yeah, they don't know how this is going to go with an A.G. O'Connor who already knows about this group and is looking into what he may be able to do to stop them or anything else. But we're not sure that he can, because really they're not saying anything different than, hey, we're just transporting people out of state. We don't ask them what they need, where they go. That's what this is, even though it's implicit that they're helping women cross state lines to get abortions, to get the female health care that they can't get here, reproductive health care. And that's what this is about. So here we have this elevated access. Then this is what they do. One of the things they need right now is pilots. So, hey, you know, finding volunteer pilots is a necessity for this place. So if you know anyone that is a pilot that may be interested in helping when it comes to women and their health care, well, please get a hold of them. Let them know about this organization and see if they can help, because they are actually looking for pilots that can volunteer their time. And not just here in Oklahoma, across the United States. This is in other places across the United States too, where their laws are even more draconian than they are here, which you hard to imagine, but some places, yeah, Texas, Kentucky, they have a city there that just totally went ballistic with a personal proposal that they passed. And this is kind of where we're at today when it comes to what the Supreme Court did with their Dobbs decision. And that's really what it all comes down to. It's this Dobbs decision where the Supreme Court really put years of precedent, 50 years of precedent, and turned it on its head. So now all these laws and everything else that was made of a reasoning behind all of this, they're gone. So there's nothing there. And they sent it back to the states, which, as we know now, we get a whole motley mess of different laws and different ways and different things else. And now you have other senators that are really radical and extreme, like Senator James Lankford, who actually wants to look into making laws that prevent pregnant women from crossing state lines without, you know, major violations into their Fourth Amendment rights. But that's James Lankford for you. He really isn't a big fan of the Constitution since he and his friends tried to jettison it. But what do you expect? Not much different. So that's what we're fighting against right here. People like James Lankford, who really want to see women suffer, I guess. He really doesn't want to see women suffer. What it is he just doesn't see women suffer. He sees his religious identity in all of this. You see, if a woman is in her 28th week and her water breaks, well, that's too bad. Then she's just going to have to carry that dead baby to term, and if it's going to be painful, she's going to have to, you know, deal with that one way or the other. And I'm not just talking mental pain, because that's definitely going to be there from having to carry around a dead fetus that's your child, while you're also in pain physically because you have a dead baby inside you, and it's festering and could probably, if not keep you from having kids in the future, kill you from the bacterial infection that will happen. But James Lankford doesn't see that, and he really doesn't want to see that, because, you know, he's a certain thing, you know, hey, but it doesn't stack up with my nationalist Christian ways, so I can't, that doesn't happen, that we don't want to see that. So that's pretty much where he is on this, so he's going to have to rose it up. But that's where we're at in this world today when it comes to women's health care, when it comes to women's reproductive rights, abortion, contraception, family planning, and services. So we have this group, Elevated Access, and I really want to get them out to everybody. So everybody, please help this place by helping get this video out, or tell people about, hey, there's a place called Elevated Access. They help women in states that are depressed by their legislatures or what have you, to help them get the health care they need out of state by providing pilots to fly them. And that's what this whole deal is. So we need to really get this out there. Elevated Access, they're a newer group. They're really trying to do something good for women in their health care, but they're trying to have to kind of be under the radar right now as kind of some of the things, because yeah, there's the really conservative, strict, extreme Christians out there. They're trying to come at them, and so they kind of want to make it harder for them to do that. So that's what this is about. And that's not all they do. They also work with other support organizations, of course, Planned Parenthood and others, that help with reproductive rights and everything else. So if they can't help you, if they call, you need some help or whatever else, they can definitely get you to an organization that will. And they partner with a bunch of others. So that's helpful, and that's kind of their whole system. And one of the things they like to do is they kind of have a network of care providers and people that they align with that can help them out with this, and especially help the people that come to them, the women that come to them for help, that they have this network of organizations that they deal with that can also help them with other things besides just, transporting by plane out of the state. They can help with other issues too, including lodging or whatever else with these other organizations, and anything else they may need along the way. But really, one thing is this elevated access. They need our help. They need licensed pilots. They need them to donate planes. They need them to donate fuel. They can use money, donate money so they can help buy the fuel. They can they need help in other ways too. Help get the information out there to people. Help try to get volunteer pilots, recruiting volunteer pilots. If anybody goes to any of the smaller airports locally, or anybody does anything with aviation, we'll talk to those people or create a flyer or something with this elevated access so that they can get the pilots they need, and they can get the donations they need, and money for fuel and planes, landing fees, and everything else that they're going to need to make this operation really work. Because this is something that we can use to get around some of these very draconian things some of these states have passed. Because really, you can't stop a free American citizen from crossing state lines like James Langford wants to do. You can't really do that. That's not really freedom. I mean, once we start looking at that and saying, hey, you're an Oklahoma citizen, you're a property of Oklahoma. If you want to cross state lines, well, first, you got to prove you're not pregnant. So here we are. People like James Langford want to make a second class for pregnant women. And that's basically what it is. It's taking the rights away from women who are pregnant. And that's what he wants to do. He sees them as property, basically. These women are property. Once you get pregnant, you're property of the state. And that's exactly how James Langford wants to see it. That's how he wants to present the laws he's doing and the bills he's writing. Like, oh, well, these women are property at that point. And I'm sure he can probably find some biblical passage to make it so. I'm almost positive there's something in there. So that's what we get. And then out of stuff like that, because you got crazy extremists like James Langford out there running around doing stuff like this, then we get a counter, which is, hey, elevated access. You got a snow ski trip in New Mexico and Angel Fire? Well, we may be able to find a charter flight for you to get you there. So that's what this is all about. You need to take a camping trip in Colorado? Well, we might be able to get you a chartered flight and get you to Colorado. And that's basically what this organization does. That's what it's all about. Elevated access. Go look them up. Find out more information about them. Start talking to your friends about them. See if you have any friends that are pilots or anything in the aviation area, and see if they can help. Because this is a new group. They're really starting to take off, and I'm thinking they're doing good things. I'm thinking we're going to see some good things out of this, and at least until we can change some things and maybe codify Roe, and maybe we can get back to some of what we lost from that horrible Supreme Court decision. Well, I really hope you check out Elevated Access. I really hope maybe you can find a way that we can help somehow donate some money for fuel or airport fees. And that's what I'm really hoping. Well, this is Across the Desk, and we'll see you next week.